Here we go. So tell me, first of all, what is a system of inequalities? What's an inequality?
Something less than equal.
Less than, greater than, it's these guys, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, right? Inequality, not equal. But there's shading involved because it can be, if x is greater than 3, we're going to go everything above 3 or to the right of 3, depending on how our graph is set up. So we're going to take those systems, more than one inequality, we're going to put them together in a word problem, and then we're going to graph it. It is very windy outside right now. What's going on?
Today.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so words matter. Maybe you've learned that in life, right? People say words and they can be uplifting and they can be tearing down. Words matter. Words matter in math too. Is that math?
No, sorry.
Let's do math. So it's super important today to pay attention to the words that you are using, okay? Here's what we've got. What is up with you guys today? Everyone's like, I don't know, you're weird today. You're all weird today. Okay, here it is. Words matter. Yeah, sorry. Was that hurtful? I don't mean it. You're not weird. I love you all. You're great. Here we go. It says, suppose you buy flour and cornmeal in bulk to make flour tortillas and corn tortillas. Flour costs $1.50 per pound. Cornmeal costs $2.50 per pound. You want to spend less than $25 on flour and cornmeal, but you need at least 6 pounds altogether. That's a whole lot of words, right? I would say your best bet is to identify your variables, first of all. So what are the things that we're working with here? What are our unknowns? Cornmeal and flour. Okay, so you have two unknowns. We're going to call X flour for now and Y cornmeal. Okay, that's what we're going to keep it to in this problem. Those are the two things we don't know how much of we have. Okay, now it says flour costs $1.50 per pound. Cornmeal costs $2.50 per pound. And you want to spend less than $25 and you need at least 6 pounds. Okay, now this is a system. There's two inequalities happening here. Does anyone think they could write one of these inequalities?
How much does it weigh?
So 150, 250, something.
I think I'm ready.
So we don't currently know how much it weighs because that's what we're trying to figure out. Like we need at least 6 pounds, right? Do you remember what? Yeah.
150x plus 250y equals 25, and then x plus y is 6, right?
Okay, but not equals.
Oh. Is greater than 6?
So 150x, which 150 is 1.5. I'm not even going to put the 0 on there. If you want to put the 0 on there, you can, but I think it's just extra stuff. It doesn't change anything because it's a decimal point. So 150x plus 250y somehow relates to the number 25. Okay, now read what it says. You want to spend less than $25. So what symbol is going to go there? Less than. That amount should be less than $25. So that's one inequality that you're going to write. The other inequality is going to deal with the weight of it. Sanaya, what'd you say for that one?
X plus y.
So flour plus cornmeal has to be not greater than or equal to, because it says at least 6 pounds. So could it be 6 pounds?
Yeah.
Yes. So greater than or equal to 6. Okay? That's taking those words that matter and turning them into a system. So here's our system. The question is, what are 2 possible solutions to the system? And you could get a different answer than every other person in this room and still be correct, okay? Because there's a lot of correct answers to these problems. Do you remember when you graph a system of inequalities, what your solution is?
Basically, the shade.
The shaded overlap. Right, so we're gonna have 2 different shaded sections, and everywhere that they overlap is a potential solution. So you're gonna have a lot of potential solutions, okay? Now let's think about this. We said X is flour. So if we're gonna graph this, X being flour is gonna go down here. Cornmeal is your Y. Okay, so that's gonna be the vertical. We've gotta come up with what makes sense here. Now, I think the easiest way to graph this is to rearrange, right? That's what we've been doing all along. When we try to graph something, we like to graph from what form? Slope intercept. So if we can get it to be y equals mx plus b, we're in good shape, okay? Let's start on the bottom one because it's just a little neater, a little more clean of a equation. If I want to solve this bottom equation and put it into slope intercept form, what do I do? Subtract x. Okay, now some of you have been doing this not quite right, so stick with me. If I lost you for a second, check back in right now. If I subtract x and I subtract x, I'm left with y is greater than or equal to, now be careful here. 6 minus x is fine, but that's not technically slope intercept. We like the x first. So this is a negative x and a positive 6. I would write it like that. If you say 6 minus x, it's fine, but then you got to make sure that you realize you flipped your slope intercept, your slope and your y-intercept, okay? I would write it like this. How do you graph that? We're going to plot the 6 first. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, my y-intercept right now is here. Okay, where do I move for the slope of this line? Right, and I'm just going to count by ones all the way here. So if I have a slope of -1, I'm going to say down 1 to the right 1, down 1 to the right 1, down 1 to the right 1. So that would be like that. Is this dotted or solid?
That is solid.
Solid because of this greater than or equal to. Okay, so this goes here. Where do I shade? Greater than, above. I'm going to show you another way that you could do this because I think some of you on the quiz were getting confused on the shading part of it. But for right now, we're just going to shade like this. So everything above this, you can't be in the negatives, so you don't need to go into any other quadrant. It's going to be all right here because you can't have negative cornmeal and you can't have negative flour. Okay?
Unless you have no flour.
But that would be 0, not negative, right? So you can have 0 flour, but you can't have negative flour. So you can't go below the line or to the left of the line.
Technically negative is still 0 if you think about it, because you see I have negative flour, that technically means you have no flour. No.
No, you can't have negative flour. It is impossible to have negative flour.
What?
It doesn't exist, negative flour.
Okay.
You can have 0 flour.
Okay. Stop.
Okay, next one. The other equation, okay, it started like this. I'm going to move over here just to give us a little more room to work with. So 1.5x plus 2.5y is less than 25. Okay. If I want to isolate the y, I want to get y by itself. What's my first move? Not just 1.5, 1.5x from both sides, okay? So minus 1.5x. So right now, I have 2.5y, still on the left, this went away, is less than negative 1.5x plus 25. Okay, your next move is divide. 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. So this is 1, and we have a y there. Do I flip my symbol on this one? No, because we divided by a positive, okay? Okay, now this is a little bit goofy, because this would normally be our slope, but that's an ugly slope. You can't have a decimal in a fraction. So you're going to go negative 1.5 divided by 2.5, and you get this number. Okay, also not a beautiful slope. Do you remember how to turn this into a fraction on your calculator? I think on your calculator it's this, S to D, maybe? Or is it F to D? F to D? Yes, it's the PRB button on your calculator. Maybe you want to get your calculator out right now and look at this, because this is very helpful for you. There is a button where you're going to hit second and then the PRB button, because right above it, it says F to D, okay? It's going to take that negative 0.6 and it's going to turn it into a fraction for you. Can anyone tell me what that fraction is? 3 over 5. Negative 3 over 5 times x. And then 25 divided by 2.5 is 10. Okay, so that's the trickiest part of this problem, if you ask me, is just converting that into your slope-intercept form. If you don't know how to do that, or if you're not sure where those buttons are on the calculator, let me know. I'm happy to show you. It's pretty simple once you find it.
When finding out negative 0.6 off of like the calculator, how do you do that? Is it in one?
So once you have the negative 0.6, is that what's on your screen right now? Negative 0.6? What? No, on your calculator screen.
I know how to do it on my calculator. I'm saying like if you were to do it.
Oh, if you don't have your calculator? So here's what you could do. A negative 0.6, that's 6/10, right? If you were thinking of it in like decimal form, it's 6/10. Well, so if you wrote it as 6/10 instead, then you would just reduce that fraction. So 6 over 10 is 3 over 5. So you don't have to use the calculator. But yeah, yep, you can totally do it like that. Yes.
Alright, two things. One, for that box answer, is that negative 3 over positive 5 or negative
Yes.
3 over 5?
Yep, negative 3 over a positive 5. Yeah.
And then, what would we write for the two possible solutions?
That's what I'm going to show you next. So we're going to graph this, okay? You plot the 10 first. So we're at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is my y-intercept, okay? And then from there, we're going down 3, 1, 2, 3, and to the right 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do that again. Down 3, 1, 2, 3, to the right 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can do it again if you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a dotted line. They're actually not parallel. They're close to parallel, but they're not parallel. But it's y is less than that. So your shading right now would go less than, like this. Okay. Where do your solutions lie? In between the two, the overlap. So your solutions are here. Right? It's all this pink is your solution. Okay. You don't necessarily need to like scribble that in darker for me right now, because what I want you to see, I'm going to take the pink away for a minute, is I want to see what are the possible solutions then. So anywhere inside of that is a possible solution. So let's think about this. If I name a point, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. If I go to 10 on the flower, and I go to 2, right? Here's 2, here's 10. What is that telling me? Because that point would be a solution, right? It falls in the in-between. What does that mean? 10 what to what?
10 flour to
10 pounds of flour and 2 pounds of cornmeal. Oops, cornmeal. Okay, so that is one solution. 10 pounds of flour, 2 pounds of cornmeal. Pick another one and then tell your neighbor what you picked and see if you agree that that is an appropriate solution. 10 pounds of flour, 2 pounds of cornmeal is one that I did. Tell your neighbor. What'd you pick? Have your neighbor check if they agree that that's a good solution. David, what'd you pick?
Actually,
Logan?
I didn't get there either. Speak up.
We'll wait while you figure one out. Pick a solution for us. Both of you, pick a solution. What'd you get, Nick? Oh, yeah. Did you get one, David? Logan? What are we looking for? What's a solution with two inequalities like this?
X and Y.
We're looking for an X and a Y. And we're looking for the overlap, right? So it's going to be somewhere in this overlap because that's where our graphs overlap. So is there an X and a Y value that would work here? So in other words, could you name that point for me? Because that falls in the overlapping shading.
5, 3.
But flip it, right? 3 what? 3 of the flour. 5 of the cornmeal. So that would be a solution. 3 pounds of flour and 5 pounds of cornmeal. Okay. What'd you get, Yasmin? Oh, you have a question? 4 and 4. So 4 and 4. Does that work? 4 and 4? Totally does, right? What'd you get, Elijah?
Why would 5 and 3 not work?
5 and 3 would work. But I had picked the point that was 3, 5 already when he said the 5 and 3. But yeah, you could absolutely do 5 and 3. 5 is here, 3 is here. That would work. Does this point right here work? Mm-hmm. Does this point right here work? Yeah, 3 pounds or 2 pounds of flour, 7 pounds of cornmeal. Does this point work? No, because it's outside of the overlap. It's in one of them, but it's not in both of them, okay? So you have to find the overlap and find an answer that falls in that gap, okay? That's why there's a bunch of answers, because anything inside of there is an acceptable answer. So you might have totally different answers than the people around you, and that's okay. Good on that? Okay, let's try another one. We're gonna do number 4. Okay, so this one says, Mary knits scarves and sweaters to sell. Scarves take 2 hours to knit. Sweaters take 10 hours. Mary would like to spend no more than 40 hours per week knitting and knit at least 5 items per week. Okay. What are the 2 things we're talking about? Scarves and sweaters. So I'm going to say X is scarves and Y is sweaters. X is scarves, Y is sweaters. Kiana, do you think you could give us one of the inequalities here?
Would you do 2x plus 9 is greater than 40?
Okay, so it says Mary would like to spend no more than 40 hours per week. So could she spend 40 hours? She could, okay? But if she doesn't want to spend any more than 40, what inequality? Less than or equal to, right? So 2x plus 10y is less than or equal to 40. That would be one of your equations or inequalities. The other one is dealing with how many items to make. What do you do with that? X plus Y. She wants to knit at least 5. What's your inequality there? Greater than or equal to, because she could make exactly 5. So X plus Y is greater than or equal to 5. Okay? Okay, now this is where it gets tricky. This is the hard part, is converting those equations into something graphable. So I want you to take these and put them into slope-intercept form and see if you can graph them. Okay? Give that. So again, I think the pink one is slightly easier to rearrange. How do I get the y by itself on that pink equation? Subtract x. Take away x, take away x. So you get y is greater than or equal to a negative x plus 5. Okay? So that's one equation. If we graph that, plus 5, okay, is going to go where? Up 5 on the y-axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Now, our slope is a negative 1. So we're going to go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. Is this a solid or dotted line? This is solid. Okay. Now, this is saying y should be greater than or equal to that line. So here's our line. If we want to be greater than that line, where do we go? Above. Yeah, we're going to go this way with it. Okay, so that's the pink one. The purple, I'm going to rewrite over here just so we have a little more room. Okay, what's your first move if we're trying to get y by itself? Take away the 2x. So you get 10y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 40. And then you're going to divide by 10. Okay, so y is less than or equal to, what is negative 2x over 10? What's your slope? Negative 2 over 10 is what reduced? 1 over 5 times x plus 4. Okay, so this is your new equation. What do you graph first? A positive 4. So up to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 puts us here. And then from there, you're going to move down 1 over 5. Down 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, again, a solid line. Okay, this says y is less than or equal to. So we want to be lower than that line. Okay, y is less than the line. Where do I go? Below. So that's going to go down here. Okay, which means our overlap is all of this right now. That's where the pink and blue meet. Oh, look, guys, pink and blue meets for purple. I didn't even do that on purpose. So your answer is somewhere in there. I'm going to take the purple away so you can see what those answers are. We said X was scarves. We said Y was sweaters. So give me a solution that works here. How many of each? Say it again. No, because that would be here. 2 scarves and 1 sweater would be right there. And we're looking for the overlap. We want to be in this little region here.
7.
Okay. 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. Ooh, that's risky. You know what? That's not going to work. 7, 2 would work great. 1, 2. This point right here. So 7 scarves. 2 sweaters. Okay. Give me another solution. You gave me one. Somebody else give me another solution. Aiden, can you tell me another one that would work here? So if you look at your points, okay, we want to be in this chunk, in this overlapping space. So you're just looking for where is there a cross? Where is there points meeting up? So like right here, for instance, okay, that would be 8 scarves and 1 sweater. Does that make sense? So you're just picking a point, 8 scarves, 1 sweater.
Do you want us to write the full thing out on the test, or can we just like 7-1 or like 7-2 or like 8-1?
No, tell me what they represent. Yeah, give me the words. Okay. Okay, this last one we're just going to set up, but I'm not going to solve it because I think we're going to run out of time and I'd rather let you get started on this. But let's take a look at this one. Number 5. It says a clothing store has a going out of business sale. They're selling pants for $8.99, shirts for $3.99. You can spend as much as $60, and you want to buy, this one's a little different, at least 2 pairs of pants. Okay, so your 2 unknowns right now, we're going to say X is pants, and we're going to say Y is shirts. Tell me one of the inequalities here. Brooklyn, do you think you can give me one of the 2 inequalities? Pants are $8.99, shirts are $3.99, and you can spend as much as $60. Can you turn that into an inequality? Less than or equal to will be your symbol. What do you put on, so less than or equal to 60, what do you put on the left side of that then, if we're talking pants and shirts? So that's going to be, that would potentially be the other one. Shirts plus pants equals some number of them. This one, this is dealing with the money side of it. So this is where we want to keep our money stuff together. So $8.99 for pants plus $3.99 for shirts is less than or equal to 60, as much as 60, okay? The other one's a little bit different. You want to buy at least 2 pairs of pants. What are pants for us right now? Pants is X. So there's no Y in this second equation. So your X, if we're going to buy at least 2 pairs of pants, what symbol is that? At least 2. Greater than or equal to. So your number of pants is greater than or equal to 2. Do you remember how to graph when there's only an X? What kind of line is that? It's the vertical line. So if X is greater than or equal to 2, you would do that vertical line at 2, and you would shade everything this way. Okay? We're not going to get into the $8.99 one right now because that's gets a little hairy. If you get weird numbers like that, $8.99X and $3.99Y, you're welcome to call that 9X and 4Y because they're so close to that. And then just keep your answers within the brackets, like plenty far in, and then you'll be fine. Okay? Questions on that?